Money with Marty Moose. I'm Marty Moose. All the information presented here is for informational purposes only. It does not constitute financial investment or other advice. It's a Saturday where I'm at, and so what I'm going to talk about today is banking. I'm just going to talk about kind of how I use mostly cash. I try not to use credit cards too much. I do have credit cards. I'll talk about that at some other point. But for the most part, using cash to buy everything tends to keep myself out of trouble. Um, so we're going to switch to the iPad here and kind of show you kind of what I'm talking about. So one of the things I use is cash. All right, so pretty much everybody has a savings account, and they probably have a checking account. All right, and these are all contained within your bank. Okay, and you've got your job, and it puts money typically into your checking account. And then big thing is then usually will then take some of the money from your work, your job, and put it into savings. A common thing is about 10%. Always pay yourself first. It's very important to pay yourself first when it comes to that. But what I do is within my bank, and most days, most banks have an app, so this is going to be really easy to always do. Within the bank, I set up a second checking account. And then I mainly use this. This has a debit card with it. And so as I go about my month to buy gas or groceries or anything that I need to do, I take money and I feed it into my checking account. That way I'm kind of always aware of how much cash I'm spending. And so again, my idea is within a month is to only spend the cash I allocated for the budget and kind of not go over. And so when you spend your cash and you have nothing left, you typically stop buying things. So this is kind of a great thing. And this main checking account, I do have a debit card with that too. But one of the things about this is because this debit card here, number 2, is I kind of only fill it up when I need it, or I give myself some money for the week or money for the month through the app. If I'm ever short, I'm going to buy something, I can always take more and feed it into there. So I'm only using this one debit card, and things like PayPal, Venmo, in my case, WeBull, everything is linked to this. And so this is going to provide me kind of a layer of insulation. Because of doing online transactions, things like that, even with the debit card, if anybody ever, my cards have compromised or the information is stolen, taken, and they try to drain my checking account, they're only going to drain this one, which I never really have too much money in it at all. It kind of gives me a layer of protection from this. So this is quite common. I've been hacked. I've had people take money out of my main checking account through a debit card that was either skimmed or compromised, and it was really frustrating. But if you do this with a second checking account and that ever happens, you then call the bank and you turn off this one as you wait for the new debit card to come. You're still good because you still have this one debit card that's really not used all that often. And as you wait for your new card to show up, you can use this one here, and then once you have your new card, you're back in action. So it never really keeps you kind of down, because it's a problem sometimes if you only have one debit card and it's compromised or lost, and you call the bank, and particularly in a case where it's compromised, they're going to shut it down, and then you're just at their mercy waiting for them to show up, and it's going to be kind of hard sometimes to kind of keep going about living, doing the stuff, buying the stuff you need on a debit card. The main idea is that I'm using cash. I'm usually not trying to ever charge, because through a month, if I burn through my cash quickly, well then it pretty much forces me to stop buying if I don't have any more cash for the month, which is kind of a good thing. A lot of guys will say, you just use cash. It really forces you to be disciplined um, in how you're spending the money, because when your balance on your checking account gets low, you got to wait till the next paycheck to show up. And it really keeps you away from getting in trouble with credit cards, because too many people will get into debt, because credit card debt, because they keep charging, thinking they're going to pay off, and they don't pay off, and then next month they have to pay more and they buy more. And so if you just use cash, a lot of times that can really kind of keep you out of trouble, and it's a way to kind of manage your cash flow. So and again, and also this second account linked to the outside world insulates you from your main checking account, because what would really be horrible is if you only have one checking account and that one's compromised and somebody drains your account. A lot of times the bank's going to get your money back. They're going to work with you and all that, but while you're waiting, you're kind of in a jam as you wait for that to get settled. In the case with this, if I only kept $500 in there total, and they drained that, that's all they're going to drain. Whereas in the main checking account, I've got quite a bit more. That gives me a layer of protection. So that's just something to think about. It's kind of what I do. It's kind of a great way to kind of insulate yourself. And again, the main thing is just to use cash for the max extent possible. So appreciate you watching. If you think it's good information, go ahead and give me a like. You can always subscribe also, as I kind of grow this channel. Probably going to get a lot better at making these videos with the technologies I learned.